Buddy,
Yeah.
just go ahead and ask them out loud.
We're live and on the air. Greetings, everyone. My name is Lynn Hawkins, and I am the host of the Permission Movement Experience. But today, I just want to say I am so grateful for two of the most wonderful women in my life to be a part of the movement experience and bringing to you today some powerful information. Before we get to that, I just want to say, do you know what it feels like to give yourself permission to have, to be, to do the things in your life that you were created to be, do, and have? Well, that's what this experience is all about. It's about opening the doors of your heart, opening the doors of your mind, and allowing the valuable information, the extremely generous people who are bringing themselves to this event to share with you. And today, I've actually got a host who's going to take care of our guest presenter today, and I want to introduce you to her. Cynthia Gardner ONeill. She is the creator and founder of the Center for Loving Consciousness, and she's the creator of Harmonics. And you'll see over time, she and I will be doing a lot of different things together, but today she is hosting our very special guest. And Cynthia, welcome. I'm going to turn the show over to you and just
All
let
right.
you have it, my friend.
Okay, well, I am so honored to be here today with Lynn Hawkins supporting the Permission Movement Experience. And we're with a very powerful, loving presence who has transformed my experience with my business and most of all, my life. And we have here today with us Gina Gaudio-Graves. She's the JV Queen, founder and dean of Directions University, which I am a part of, thank goodness, because she has changed my life with her whole idea of what a Vortex model of doing business is, and helping me find that vortex. She also is the CEO of DU Press, which is our publisher here for our books and everything for the permission movement experience that we have here. So this is about, you know, the success with the philosophy that has grown into the practice that has been proven to cause client attraction, retention, and increased profits. And it's all due to this Gina creating this incredible vortex model, and learning about that myself has just taken me to new heights with me understanding my own truth and how I can make a difference in this world. And that's why we are bringing her here today to talk to us about her story, which has a lot to do with how she came into being able to develop this vortex model. And so I'm just going to turn it over to you, Gina, so you can just tell more about yourself and why you're here and joining us and having this great experience with us.
Thank you so much, Lynn and Cynthia. I have to tell you, this experience for me today is just incredible. I'm like a proud mama today. Not only are Lynn and Cynthia both faculty members at Directions University, they're there now as faculty, but they didn't start out as faculty. They started out as my mentees. And to be a part of what they're doing to make a difference in the world, oh my gosh, that's just my heart. So thank you, both of you, for really doing all that you've done to apply the teachings and really make a difference in the lives of not just your prospects and customers, but the entire world.
Thank you, Gina.
Yeah.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
So would you guys like me to start out with my story today?
Absolutely, because this is really so important to our group here and everybody who's participating in the permission movement. So absolutely, take it away. We'd love to hear this.
So I wish I could say that I knew when I first started out in my career that I wanted to be an entrepreneur and that there was this thing I was going to call the Vortex model of doing business that I was going to create. And I really didn't create it, I discovered it. But neither of those would have been true. I actually started out back in the third grade with my passion of teaching. And I had done the research in the third grade of finding out what were the highest paid teachers on this earth. And I learned that law school professors made more money than any other teacher. So I set my sights on, I'm going to teach law school so that I could become a high paid teacher. Back in the third grade, there wasn't something called coaches and mentors. Had I known that, I probably never would have gone to law school in the first place. But that's what I did. I graduated from Notre Dame, was on Notre Dame Law Review, went into my career as a practicing lawyer. I was a litigator in the environmental and toxic tort arena for about 6 years, because you've got to pay your dues as a lawyer before you can actually teach. 6 years into that career, I finally was able to apply to my alma mater. I got accepted to teach law at Notre Dame. And within just 3 short weeks of getting that huge excitement from seeing my letter saying I was going to teach in September, I got into a very serious car accident that left me in a hospital bed and wheelchair for nearly 10 years. During that time, I amassed about $9.9 million worth of medical bills, and I needed $40,000 a month just to pay for my medication. Without it, I would have been dead in under 90 days. So it was with that great need, that great why, that I came to thinking about having a business. And when I first started, I didn't even know then I was going to have a business. My thought was, I know a little bit about day trading in the stock market. If I could simply be a day trader, I bet I could use what I've got as a small portfolio to make my $40,000 a month. The internet was in its infancy at the time. This was back in 1996. Internet had been around maybe a year, and there were these new membership sites springing up that were being called day trading chat rooms. But they were expensive, $500 to $1,000 a month. With them, I would be able to do a better job of trading and therefore make more money. But how the heck was I going to find an extra $500 to $1,000 to pay for that when I needed the money for my meds? So I went to 5 different membership sites and offered to come in and teach people how they could do what I was doing, trading with a small portfolio consistently month after month. They all loved the idea of it. It wasn't something they were doing then. And they were willing to give me, in return, not money, just a free membership. It worked out perfect. I did what I was passionate about, what I see my purpose as, and got something I wanted in return. Well, a few short months in, the members started asking me to open up my own membership site. Each room only had me for 1 day a week, and they wanted me 5 days a week. Well, that's what really led me to become an entrepreneur. I started thinking about all the ways that I could have my own membership site without hurting the 5 membership sites that had been so good to me. Then if I could use leverage, I could get these 5 membership sites to bring me all the members I could ever want. And I thought about it. If I had 500 members, each paying me $100 per month, well, boy, I'd have $50,000 a month. More than enough to pay for both my medication and my living expenses. So that's what I did. Within a month, the membership sites did exactly what I expected them to, and I had all 500 members. So I closed the doors, put up a waiting list, and for the next 3.5 or almost 4 years, I had a full membership, making me more than enough money for what I needed without even having to do day trading. And that worked well. So well, though, that it really started taking a toll on my already declining health. By 2001, my health had declined so much that I really couldn't keep up with the commitment I had made to these 500 people. So I sold that business to one of my members, and I started what I thought was going to be my first real business. It was going to be an internet advertising agency. I had figured out a thing or two about advertising and marketing on the internet through that membership site. I figured I could help other people doing that same thing. Well, again, not exactly how things turned out. Again, prospects and customers started coming to me asking for something that I'd never heard before. They were calling it joint venture traffic. What they really wanted was a joint venture broker. They were people who had products and services that they wanted to connect to people with large lists and large amounts of traffic. And they wanted someone who could make that connection happen, and they were willing to pay a small percentage of whatever was sold for the person making the connection. Well, that seemed easy enough. So I put myself out there as one of the very first JV brokers on the internet. And while theoretically it sounded good, all I had to do was help my clients make $400,000 a month in sales to get 10% of that, or $40,000 a month, to pay for my medication. It was a little bit harder than it sounded. I could take people with world-class products and services, connect them with people that had huge lists, huge amounts of traffic, and sometimes it made money, and sometimes it didn't. And when you're needing this money for a life or death situation, failure is not an option. You must make the sales happen no matter what, or you can't afford to spend your time on it. Well, I realized that what I was going to need was a system. One that was going to ensure that every connection I made was absolutely positively going to bring in the kind of money it needed to. It took about 2 years to uncover that system, which is what today we call the Vortex model of doing business. And it took going out and studying already successful businesses, looking at what was making them successful, how did that work, and what elements could be duplicated in other businesses. Having this gift of all these different clients who had all these different businesses in all these different niches, each one with a different business model, made it an awful lot easier to figure out what I was going to do in order to make that system work. It worked so well that within a very short period of time, I've got to turn my camera off because it just started to rain. I got to get under an umbrella. Within a fairly short period of time, I was able to ensure that every single JV that I organized was making money. It worked so well that I really didn't advertise my services. It was strictly word of mouth, and people were coming to me like crazy. By 2005, though, life had other things in store for me.
We're losing you.
About $6.1 million of the $9.9 billion.
Gina?
Yes.
Gina, we can't hear you very well right now.
You can't at all?
There we go, just barely.
Bear with me for 2 seconds.
No, we still... Well, we're going to get Gina back in here. She is just making her adjustments with her mic and her computer to tell more of this story. And this, this is another part of the story here of doing business and taking what's happening right now and creating an opportunity to transform it into something even better. So I know when Gina gets on here, when she kind of tunes out a little bit, when we're all together, all of a sudden this really incredible experience comes back from Gina when she tunes back in. So she kind of gets, this is really a good time. Are you getting hooked up there now, Gina?
I am. Is this
there we
Cynthia?
Go. Yeah, thank you.
Am I loud and clear again?
Yes, perfect now. I was just telling everybody we've had this.
Source.
What's that?
Let me double check my mic source.
Yeah, it sounds good now. But I was just telling everybody when you go out, you usually come back with something very powerful to say. So always. All right, now we can't hear you. We've lost your mic again.
How about
There,
now?
there we go.
You know what? I didn't realize it was doing that. I'll switch to a completely different mic that will be a lot clearer for you guys.
All right,
I
fabulous.
thought it was on my Bluetooth mic, and apparently it's not picking up the Bluetooth mic. So you've got an internal mic from my computer, and that's just not a great connection for you guys to hear.
Yeah. So with these technical difficulties, sometimes always great things come from the challenges we have in our life. And that's one thing that I know that Gina, when she shares this story with you, the difficulty she went through, and then what happened from all these challenges and the great things that began to happen. So that's what this Vortex model of doing business also is. It's about taking you out from the, being unaware of what these discoveries of ourselves are and helping others, and then bringing it home. So, Gina, all right, now you're buzzing, and we can't hear you. It's more of a buzz. Still can't hear you. So while she's getting this ready, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story about being with Gina and the Vortex model. Are you coming back in?
Thank you. I am. Is this any better?
Yes, much better.
Yay! Okay. So do you want to tell them there's yours part, or you want me to continue?
I want you to go ahead and continue, and we'll kind of, I'll jump in to support the whole story that's going on.
I definitely want both you and Lynn, when we get done with my story, to talk about your experience with the Vortex model before I teach the model.
Awesome.
I think that's very helpful for everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Where we were in my story is I've now been the JV queen for a couple of years. People are finding me on autopilot. I don't have to advertise. But again, life had something else in store for me. In January of 2005, my doctors told me that I had just 12 to 18 months to live. I was only 40 years old at the time, but that's how sick I had gotten by that point. My husband and I went home from that visit that night, and we talked about it, and together we decided that we wanted to see the country before it would be time to die. So he went out and he found an RV that he could retrofit with my hospital bed and my oxygen and my IV poles. And within just a couple short weeks, we were able to hit the road, thinking we'd have 8 to 10 months to see the country before we would have to go home for me to die. And that's exactly what we did. Except that 6 months into that trip, it was the week of my 41st birthday, and I was going downhill a lot faster than they had told me that I should expect. That week, as I had done every week, I had brought my blood to 3 different hospitals to have tests run to send results back to my doctors. Except that week, all 3 were taken to 3 different hospitals, and all 3 came back with the exact same test results that I didn't even know were possible from a blood test. All 3 said, "This patient is clinically dead." That's how sick I was for my 41st birthday. Needless to say, my husband and I are both thinking, this really is going to be my last birthday. The tests are saying it's my last birthday way past. What can we do to make sure that this is my best last birthday? We happened to be in Sedona, Arizona, a magical, energetic place. He decided to take me to see a massage therapist, hoping that it could have an impact on my pain for just that one day. So he gets me into her office, helps me up onto her table. I've never met her before. She takes one look at me and she says, "You know, you don't have to die as soon as you think." And I'm kind of chuckling to myself, thinking, oh yeah, how much is this one going to cost me? I figured she was going to be like everybody else and try and sell me some lotion or potion. But that's not what she was doing at all. She went on to tell me that if I could remove the negativity from my life, I didn't have to die as soon as I thought. I proudly explained that I was probably the most positive person she was ever going to meet. I didn't have an issue with negativity, or at least so I thought. She then explained that if all I had was a positive mental attitude, it wasn't going to be enough to save my life. Oh, that seemed a little confusing. I couldn't figure out what she was saying. So I spent that 1 hour visit asking a lot of questions. And she went on to explain to me that I needed to have positivity in every aspect of life, both from my mindset to my actions, my thoughts, even the people in my life. All of it had to be positive. And if I could find a way to do that, then I might have a chance at not dying. Well, by the time I left that one visit, all I could think was, I don't really have a lot to lose. Maybe there is something to this wonderful advice this beautiful woman has just given me. Maybe I could do what I've done so many times already and research it. So for the next 4.5 months, I went out and researched her advice as much as I could. And I applied as much as what I had read as I possibly could to my entire life. And as I did, massive transformations started to happen very quickly. I went from a wheelchair to a walker to a cane to walking with no assistance at all, even though to this day I don't have feeling in my legs and feet. My hair came back. You guys can see this is my own hair. I was bald at that time. These are my own nails. They all came back. They had all been gone for years at that point. And in just 4.5 short months, I went from being on death's doorstep to being 100% well. It's what I call my miraculous transformation. And it made me look at everything different. Life, business, you name it. As I said, I paid off about $6.1 million of the $9.9 million in medical bills by then. So I'd made a lot of money for a lot of people, myself included. But I also realized I hadn't done much of anything to make a difference. And I had just been given the gift of life, a gift that big had to be repaid. What was I going to do to repay it? Well, it took me about a year or so to figure out what I could do that could be big enough to repay that gift. And the result was I closed the doors to the consulting business and opened the door to Directions University. Directions University helps entrepreneurs and small business owners in 4 areas. We show them how to get direction for both their life and their business. We show them how to give direction to prospects and customers. And our goal is really, truly to help them impact the direction of the world. Our mission is to touch every life on this planet, all 7.2 billion people. It's a mission that we cannot possibly achieve on our own. But by working with entrepreneurs, teaching entrepreneurs how to meaningfully make a difference in the lives of the people they touch, together, we truly can touch the life of every person on this planet. That's what I'm here to do. And it's with that that I bring you guys the Vortex model of doing business.
Beautiful. And, you speak about all this valuable relationships that you've had and that you can, and what you're doing with your business, the value to value relationship. You've done that all through your joint venturing as you tried to, as far as keeping yourself alive, how you were able to make that exchange. And I, during your story, you were talking about how you were able to exchange your value for, getting that into that membership, that you really desperately, wanted to be a part of. And so, just showing people that there are different ways to do things, and that's what the Vortex does for you. And Lynn, what do you think about all this?
Oh my gosh. Gina's story was one of the first things I heard in a shorter version that actually opened me up to understanding the importance that our story has in how we're moving in business and in life. And to hear her story and then how she actually connected it with Directions University Vortex and teaching how we could build our own was actually the door opening for me to start telling my story. I was one of those people who, I felt like my story may not have been as horrid as some, but to me, it was not something that I was that avidly willing to share. Even though I could tell other people to do that and suggest that very passionately, for me, there was still an air of protection that I was looking for myself. And when I learned that it not only did not serve me anymore, and choosing to do something differently, I have really come to stand in my power to be able to tell my story and relate it to my business and help others to do the same. And Gina, this has just been tremendous what the Vortex model of doing business has opened up for me and for my story and the value that it brings.
And that has been so true for both you and Cynthia as well. Both of you really tried to hide your story from the rest of the world. But in building a vortex for your business, it's almost as if you have no choice. If you're really going to serve to the very best of your ability and at the same time strategically monetize, your story has to be there, doesn't it, Lynn?
It does. It really does. It's like one of the master keys to unlocking the success of your business.
Really is. So Cynthia, how has using the Vortex model of doing business changed both business and life for you?
Well, it's brought my life into becoming whole again. I had, everything seemed kind of separate, and even I was separated from who I am and my truth and what I really wanted to do for the world and even for myself. And when I connected with you, and I'm going to share this story. When I first connected with Gina on a level, I mean, I've been following her for a long time because of her story that she had about her life, and I connected with it in many, many ways. I didn't understand that at the time, what was bringing me to Gina and really connecting us, and it was our stories. And when I finally got into joining her in the business, it was actually to learn more about social media and how to use it for my business. I didn't understand how or what that relationship was all about. But then I had a strategic call, business call with Gina and Ken. And what happened in that moment was they were so incredible at really looking at who I am, what I'm here to do and serve, which is this, center of our vortex. And they took it to another level for me because I was like going, oh, I just want to make a difference. I want to bring loving consciousness into everyone's life. And, I'm going to be a 501c3. And, I guess I'll settle for, being just the director and knowing that I'm making a difference, which is wonderful. But all of a sudden, Gina says to me, so how do you plan to pay your bills? How do you plan to do this and that? How are you going to get all that out there in the world? And I'm like, I don't know. And they started telling me about, the model of Tom's shoes, how to, start bringing in a for-profit business and then subsidizing my nonprofit, with the for-profit, and started taking me in a direction on how to do that. So that was amazing for me. And I left there going, wow, no one's ever done that for me, to help me in that moment see my life and have a vision that it can be done. That's what changed me and brought me into joining Directions University, is that opportunity to know it, to visualize it, to understand it, to see that opportunity is happening. It was just all, for sure, it wasn't just a dream anymore. It was something that I could do. And that's the big thing, is you know, I can do this. I can make a difference in the world. I can live my dream. And I want to thank you so much, Regina, for bringing that to the, you know, just what you said you're here for. And you're doing that.
You are so welcome, Cynthia. And on my side, looking at you and where you've been since we've started working together, in moving you out of just a nonprofit business into a for-profit business, one that is created and designed by first and foremost looking at your vision for life and then looking at the role that business plays in supporting life,
Yes.
as well as looking at the good you want to do in the world and asking how the business can play a role in supporting it as well. In your case, Cynthia, because of the Vortex model and the designing it based on life, service, and then business, it really has allowed you to build a business that is going to bring so much more abundance and prosperity into your life, and at the same time, make a much, much bigger difference in the lives of your customers and the impact it will have in the world. There is no way you would have been able to have the same reach and the same impact had you just gone forward as a nonprofit. Don't you agree?
I agree. And at the same time, enjoy the process, enjoy the experience. Because that's where I was, you know, before this all came to be, I was struggling. And you know, I felt like sometimes I was in that same story of struggle and lack and all these things until you brought this vortex model into my life and showed me the prosperity and abundance that is there for me. You know, that it, yeah, the joy that I'm getting from this is amazing.
And Lynn, I think the same is true for you. How has the Vortex model changed both life and business for you?
Well, there have been a couple of things, and one of the first student of personal development since the early 80s, and then I've been spiritual, not so much religious, but spiritual, and grew up in church with a spiritual connection to universe, source, since a little girl. And so for me to have been able to connect those two things through some of the teachings that you've been doing has been the first thing. And the second thing was, and this was really huge for me, it was like one day I woke up and it just hit me. Okay, I've spent 30 plus years in the grants world. All of the business that I have done has been around empowerment and individual and businesses. And to bring that into a forum that I now call my business, the P3 Academy of Social Entrepreneurship, has just been amazing. I think one day I actually woke up and said, I've got it. That's me. I am truly the epitome of social entrepreneurship. Everything I'm doing with this project, the Permission Movement Experience, the Academy, and all of the work that I have built into Skyhawk Enterprises business coaching has been around empowerment. And with the business development, with the visioning courses that I've done in my business for years, I'm now bringing to the Academy at a level that is just so much deeper and heartfelt for me. And I know that has been because of what I have learned over the not even a year that I've been participating in Directions U. And now as faculty, I see the vision of what my contribution to DU can be. And I'm so excited. I just thank you from the bottom of my heart for being there, for experiencing your life to get to a point where you could pour into mine, and I could be here today doing the work that I'm doing. Thank you.
Oh, you are so welcome, Lynn. And for you too, probably even more so than Cynthia, You had so much that you had already done within Skyhawk Enterprises before we ever met at all. And you had all these separate pieces. There was a little piece over here and another one over here and another one over here, but they weren't tied together in any way at all. And therefore, if you did make money, you'd make a sale, and that would be it. And you would sell things at prices that were way too low, never to have that customer buy a second or third time, and more importantly, never really making as deep a difference in the life of your customer as you could be. And now, by bringing the Vortex model into your business and your life, it has literally made the sky's the limit possible. Anything is possible. You really live in this realm of infinite possibilities as a result of what the Vortex is doing in your business, in a way that just not only escalates the reach and the impact, but the impact in the life of every single person you're touching, Lynn. It's like it tied it all together and wrapped it up with a beautiful bow and a cherry on top.
It did. It truly did. And you know, Cynthia and I talk a lot about this whole philosophy of alignment, aligning with who it is that you desire to be, the vision for your life, the vision for your business. And I felt all of that come into place with aligning into the Vortex model of doing business. I could see things happening, and they have truly begun to happen. And it's an amazing experience. I can't wait to have this conversation again a year from now, 6 months from now, to talk about what's been going on.
And for both of you, don't you find that the amount of effort you're having to put in to start getting results is way less than it was before as a result of the Vortex?
Yes. Yes, I do. And I have to say, you know, that's been very important for me. In 2012, when my son was killed, and I found myself just, you know, in the blink of an eye leading a much different life than I had before, my family became so much more important to me. Before that, it was just me, and I didn't have the same kind of personal expectation in the time that I spent with other people. And now having a huge part in raising my 10, well, then 10, now 12-year-old grandson, it's just been amazing to have that time and that opportunity to come back to me. And I know that it was the Vortex and all that I had done before being able to come together and align. And it's, yes, I think that that is one of the key principles for why, along with the laws of the universe coming into play, for why the Vortex model works so well.
I couldn't agree more. So let me switch over to the PowerPoint, and let's teach the viewers and listeners a little more about what is this thing that we're calling a vortex, and how does it work, and even more importantly, how can you get one in your own business? So in order to understand what a vortex is and how it works, it's important to understand a little bit more about how your ideal customers really work. In order to build your own vortex and get it into your own business, you must first start by asking yourself, what is the vision for your life, not for your business? What do you really want to have 1 to 3 or 3 to 5 years from now in life and in business? What do you want for yourself? What do you want for your family and friends? What do you want for your prospects and customers? And even, what is it that you want for the world? It's only in looking at that vision that you can then ask yourself, okay, what is that one business that I could build that could allow me to have everything I see in that vision? And who is it that is my ideal customer if I really want to get all of that to happen with the least amount of effort in the shortest amount of time with the biggest possible results. No matter what audience you decide to target and focus on, doesn't matter who they are, whether they're men, women, etc., they're likely to be at one of 5 different levels of awareness. In the outer scale, the lower end of the scale, are people who are not aware. 30% of your audience is totally not aware that they even have a problem. They therefore don't know about any solutions that exist to their problem. And of course, they're not going to know about your unique solution because they don't even know that they have a problem. That's 30% of your ideal customers. Another 30% are at least problem aware. They know they've got a problem, but they're so in the pain of the problem that they have no idea what solutions exist, and therefore they don't know about your unique solution. Another 30% are at least solution aware. They know they've got a problem, they know about some of the solutions, but they've never heard about yours. 90% of your ideal customers are at one of those 3 lower levels of awareness. If you're going out talking about the features and benefits of your stuff, I don't care what that stuff is, do you think it's very likely that that 90% are even going to realize that you're talking to them? More than likely, they won't realize that at all. If you really want to touch those 90% that are either not aware, problem aware, or solution aware, you need to talk to them in a very different way. It can't be talking about your features and benefits. It can't even be talking about how great you are or how great your stuff is. Instead, you really need to be out there telling them stories. Stories about the people who had problems that were able to solve their problems using your stuff. Doing it in a way that really touches their emotions so that they see themselves in the character of that story. But how the heck are you going to be able to create those stories if you're just getting started, or if you've been out there just focusing on features and benefits? That's really where the Vortex model comes in. About 7% of your audience will be product aware, meaning they know they have a problem, they know that about the solutions, they even know about your unique solution, they just haven't decided it's for them yet. Only 3% are most aware, knowing that they've got a problem, they know about the solutions, they know about your solution, and they're just looking for the best deal on it. That is really the makeup of your entire audience. Your goal in building your business is to reach the people at the lower level of the scale in a way that moves them through all of the levels of the awareness, all the way to the highest level of most aware, and even further beyond that. If you can meaningfully touch the life of every one of your customers and make a deep enough impact on their lives, then when they're talking about themselves, they will be very likely to bring up your name, your brand's name, your product names. And just in talking about themselves, they're not doing that to get a referral commission or get something more for themselves. But when people ask them about themselves, your name will naturally come up. That's what I call creating evangelists. And that truly is the goal of your business. How can you reach the people down at the lower level of awareness, move them through each level, and get them to move beyond to truly become evangelists for your business? When they become evangelists for your business, you don't have to do a lot to grow your business. They do it for you. And it's not even about paying them an affiliate commission. They do it willingly because you've made such a meaningful impact on their lives. That's where the whole idea of the Vortex comes in. In order to understand how to plan your Vortex, it's important to first understand the elements of the vortex. So let me just show you an overview so that we can walk through those elements. It is not at all important for you to be able to read the labels on this diagram. The labels are really unimportant. It's the elements that you want to understand right now. There are two sets of elements. Number one, the rings of the vortex. Each ring is the place in which your message or your stuff happens to be. The outer beige ring is content that goes on places other than your website, like things on social media, messages on a hangout, messages on a webinar, a presentation from a stage, even an ad in the offline world. They're all examples of things in that outer ring. Each ring signifies where that message is located. Not only are the outer rings the things that drive the traffic, the inner rings are the things that make the money happen. The next set of components are the things that look like petals. They're what we call pillars. We call this a vortex because it is. While it looks flat in this diagram, your vortex is anything but flat. Picture it like you would picture a tornado. It has all dimensions. Cynthia, what makes your vortex spin? What makes your vortex have sucking power like a tornado?
My service, being, I've kind of like the deer in headlights right now.
I bet Lynn can tell me. Lynn, what makes your vortex spin?
What makes your vortex spin is having something in the middle that is the big picture, but all of the things on the outside are what bring attention to you, are what draw people towards the center.
And it is critical that that center is something that they don't get for free, that they pay for. Money is the thing that makes your vortex spin. And so the inner three rings, the center where it says high end, the dark purple around it, the mint green around it, all three of those rings are things that people only get after spending money with you. Understand what money in your business really is. Frederick Learman teaches that money is an expression of gratitude on behalf of your customers. If you're not really delivering a value-to-value exchange, is it going to be very likely that people will want to pay for what it is you have to offer? They might pay for it begrudgingly, but they're not going to willingly give you money as an expression of gratitude for what it is you just delivered to them. And that's what you need to have in order to really get the spinning power, the sucking power to happen in your business. It's about that serving. It's about making a difference at levels even more than what it is you're getting people to pay for. So let's look at all of the components of the vortex so you can better understand how to create that in your business. In that outer ring is the content on other sites. You might have stuff on Facebook, on Pinterest, on LinkedIn, on Google+. You might do webinars. You might have JV partners and affiliates that do promotions for you. You might do web TV shows like this one. All of that stuff belongs in that outer beige ring. Just inside of that, in the light lavender ring, is the content on the front end of your website, the stuff that people can get to without paying and without opting in. Blog posts, sales pages, opt-in pages, articles, your about page, they all belong in that light lavender ring. Just inside of that in the mint green is your low-end lead-generating product or service. Ideally, it's not something that's delivered all at once. It's something that's delivered over a period of time. It's a low barrier to entry item. It's that thing that starts the relationship happening. Just inside of that, in the dark purple, is where your paid products go. These are not your super high priced products. They're the things that really serve to the very best of your ability, that are the next logical step after someone came through the lead generating product. And in the very center is that high-end product, that thing that makes you the greatest amount of money per customer per year. Your goal, that should be making you at least $1,000 per customer per year. That center is also that thing that really fulfills your purpose. That really changes from one business to the next because each business owner's purpose changes. For me, that center is what we call the Directions University Bachelor's Program, a very comprehensive one-year-long coaching and mentoring program. It's a program that teaches people this model for serving while strategically monetizing, that really has me as a teacher helping to really make every single one of their businesses successful by helping each student, first and foremost, design based on their vision for life, their vision for serving and doing good in the world, and figuring out how business fits into both. That's what that needs to be in your business. What is that thing that makes you the greatest amount of money, that is tied to your purpose, and allows you to do the work you are here to do? The next component is the pillars. Notice first that each pillar overlays all the rings of your vortex. So what are pillars? Pillars are topics. They are the topics around which everything in your business is crafted. When you know what the center of your vortex will be, you need to ask yourself, what are the topics that make up that center thing, whether it's a product, a service, or something else? Whatever topics make up that thing, they become the topics for your pillars. You want not fewer than 3 nor more than 7 in your pillars. Too few, you don't have enough opportunities for people to express gratitude in the form of money, and therefore the spinning doesn't happen. Too many, and it spins out of control and collapses. So between 3 and 7 topics or pillars is really where you want your plan to go. What you're really doing here is setting up your products in a way that allows you to have products in every single pillar. You want to plan from the center and move out. Too often, entrepreneurs start in the outer ring and move inward. They dabble. They'll go out and put some messages up on Facebook, see if people like it. If they do, then they go put up a website, see if people like that. If they do, then they go put up a free report or a free video. If they like that, then they think about paying or creating a product that's paid. Wrong direction to build from, guys. 180 degrees the opposite order. Figure out the center of your vortex first. Look at the components that come together to create the center. Pull them apart and turn them into a product in each pillar in the dark purple. We like to do it through using what we call our webinar to-do worksheet. If you plan one virtual workshop or what we call master classes for each pillar of your vortex, then you've got content that you can repurpose to fill out every single box on your vortex plan. In DU, we have 5 pillars. They are mindset, which covers everything from mindset to time management, goal setting, serving. We then have monetization, vortex model, building your profit funnels, figuring out where the money is going to come from, who your ideal customers are, all goes into the monetization pillar. Next, we have content marketing and relationship building pillar. That pillar is about using content marketing to build relationships, doing it in a way that moves people through the entire vortex. Next, we have the leveraging pillar. How do you use joint ventures and strategic alliances to build your business with less effort in a shorter amount of time with bigger results? Leverage comes in through joint ventures, strategic alliances, and the ways that you do things within your business. Our fifth pillar is a traffic and lead generation pillar. It also includes the idea of authoring and publishing. It can include social media, SEO, any kind of traffic and lead generation. By planning out those 5 pillars, we then created 5 master classes. They're about 2-day virtual workshops that took place and got recorded. Each one taught not just by me or me and my partner Jack Humphrey, but by an entire faculty, each one having 10 to 12 modules in it. We would plan out the curriculum for each workshop based on what curriculum we needed for the center of the vortex. If we create 5 workshops, we can package all 5 together, add to them some live group calls, add a community to it, and now we've got the product for the center of our vortex. So each one is a standalone product, and we've got a product in the dark purple for each pillar of our vortex. At the end of each workshop, have all of the faculty for that workshop come back in on a panel, record that separately, and it becomes content in a members area in the mint green ring of the vortex. Take some of those recordings, have them transcribed, and now you've got content for blog posts in the light lavender. Repurpose that onto the outer ring, and literally 1 workshop for each pillar will give you every single thing you need to fill out your entire vortex. When Lynn first came into Directions University and learned this model, she saw the webinar to-do checklist. Is it okay if I give them a link to get that? They don't even have to opt in. They can just download it.
Yes, absolutely. Please.
It's askggg.com. That's askggg.com/webinar to do, TODO. Webinar TODO, all one word, all lowercase. When Lynn first heard about the webinar to do checklist, she already had a whole bunch of courses in the form of workshops that she had created. And I remember your hug seat, Lynn, where I said, "Oh my goodness, Lynn, you literally have almost everything you need for your vortex right this minute. It's already done. Was it recorded? If it was, just reorganizing it could literally give you almost everything you need except for your outer ring stuff." You remember that conversation, Lynn?
I do, very clearly, and it has been part of what I have been working to position, to repurpose and position.
Yes.
Yes.
And Cynthia, for you, you hadn't yet started building out all of those elements. So how has your plan come together?
Well, my plan came together with ease simply by knowing that center of my vortex and planning out, because it allowed me to find the information that I actually had a lot of information to repurpose also. So it gave me how, how to take and repurpose and use what I already had and put it into action with the center of the vortex. So it made a huge difference for me having that clarity, and also recognizing and honoring myself for that I had that information, and it made me feel like life was going to be so much easier. So that's what it did for me.
Whether you use products that you create yourself like a workshop, for example, whether you use other people's products, like affiliate products. You could use private label rights products, repurpose them, edit them, add some live calls. You could use public domain products, again, add some live calls, repackage them, etc. To get all that you need for your entire Vortex is really not that difficult. It's giving you maximum leverage.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that you're planning it, then selling it, then creating it. It changes everything when you plan it, then sell it, and then create it. Too often we see people who go off and create it, then they think about planning it, and then they get around to selling it. And by the time they get around to selling it, it doesn't sell. Well, it's because you're creating in a vacuum, and it never works when you do that. You need the feedback in the form of seeing what your audience is saying. Is there enough there? Is it worded in a way that's aligned with their level of awareness that gets them to want to show their expression of gratitude in the form of money, or not? If you plan it, then sell it, and it doesn't sell right away, tweak the message until it does. And only after it's sold, then go off and create what it is you just promised. I guarantee you, when you then have the recordings that you're trying to sell, it will be way easier to sell from that point forward. It will really, really sell a lot more. And more importantly, by following that webinar to-do checklist, if you've planned it, then sold it, then created it, and now you're going off to sell the recordings and pulling them apart to have the lower priced products, combining them to get the higher priced products, but it's been sold even before the first thing was created, getting people who don't just buy one thing, but who willingly go all the way into the center of your vortex will be so easy it will feel miraculous. It's not as difficult as it could be if you didn't plan it, then sell it, and then create it first. Or if you created each product separately, and then you're out there trying to sell a $10,000 coaching program. That is way, way harder. If they really loved the piece they got first, they're going to love it even more when it's all combined. And that's the key to really getting that vortex spinning and sucking. Like I said, there are so many different ways of getting all of the pieces you need on your vortex. If at all possible, don't go off and create them all yourself, even though you could. At DU, my partner Jack and I could have taught every single master class ourselves. Not a problem. We chose not to for this reason. If we're doing all of the creation of the products, that means that we are also on the hook for driving all of the sales all the time. That's just too much work, no leverage in that. By bringing other people in and getting other people to help teach in our courses, it gives them a bigger reason to go out and bring their people into our courses. Without us having to pay exorbitant affiliate commissions, they want to do that because it includes their teaching. It's just one of the most powerful things I've ever done or seen. Don't you guys agree?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So if at all possible, get other people coming in with you. When you've got that whole plan put together, you want to use it to craft what we call your vortex story. A great example is on caregivingwithpurpose.com. Let me switch to that screen real quick so I can show you what that looks like.
You know, while Gina is doing that, Cynthia, have you been able to actually feel how things have developed with your introducing harmonics into the world because of the vortex?
Absolutely. In fact, I was just thinking about that, and as I was watching all this transpire and what Gina was showing us, I had to tweak um, things all the time. When I made the plan, there's the center of the vortex, and it started out as just loving consciousness, and so a lot of people had a hard time with that. And I had to, so I put it out there, but did it sell as well? No, because it didn't really connect with the market I was really looking for. So then all of a sudden, by going through this, repurposing what I had, finding new information, doing the hug seats, well, mine were called love seats, like what Gina asked us to also to do is to start finding out more about, make a plan, go out and do something such as a webinar, or we call them the hug seats or the strategic calls that we have with people. And from there, you can get to know your market more too, and then tweak that. And so harmonics is what came out of all that tweaking and all that story and creating, yeah, just planning it, selling it, and then now I've created it.
And then seeing it align with your vortex story. And
Yeah.
I love Gina's bringing to us caregiving with purpose. And I see that you're up. Yes, let's go ahead with that. Thank you.
So this is another DU bachelor student by the name of Dr. Ina Gilmore. In her business, there are 6 pillars, and she calls it the caregiver's heart wheel. Her business supports caregivers of all types, but especially caregivers of Alzheimer's patients. The center of her vortex is a high-end coaching program that helps caregivers not only to survive, but to thrive in caregiving. In her vortex story, which is right on her about page, it's not about Dr. Ina Gilmore, it's really about her vortex. This is a prospect-facing and customer-facing story that helps people understand who your business is for, who it's not for, and the benefits of doing business with you. And Ina has done a beautiful job of explaining that. At the beginning of the story, she says, whether you are a family caregiver, a professional caregiver, or both, the journey of caregiving affects you and your family. The call to caregiving often comes abruptly and unexpectedly, catching you off guard. Caregiving with Purpose is here to help you more than surviving, thriving in caregiving. And then it goes on to say, caregiving is a journey. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And the caregiver's heart wheel of Caregiving with Purpose helps you in each stage of your journey. Well, in just a few words, does that not really help you to understand whether this might be a business that you should be a part of or not? Easily.
Mm-hmm.
And to then go on and tell people there's these 3 different parts, a beginning, a middle, and an end. There are 6 stages in the journey. And to lay it out as a wheel where people can see each stage, well, again, each person can come in whatever stage they happen to be at that moment, whether they're at the beginning stage, whether they're at end of life care, or somewhere in between. Ina then goes on to make use of those hearts. Each heart has a color, each heart is placed in a specific direction, and each one is in a box that tells the story that goes along with that stage of caregiving. Throughout the entire story, Ina is talking about someone she calls Lisa. Lisa is a fictitious person, not a real person. But Lisa becomes the person that the caregivers identify with. Lisa becomes so important in Ina's business that if I go up to her About tab, underneath it, there's actually a section called About Lisa. She actually has a page about Lisa. When she's on webinars and teaching people about caregiving, she tells stories about Lisa. When she's writing blog posts, she tells stories about Lisa. Think back to that diagram at the beginning today with the levels of awareness, those 90% that are at the lower levels of awareness, hearing stories about Lisa, about the stage of caregiving she's at, about the problems she experiences, the solutions that Ina provided, and what that did for her. Oh my gosh, it gives so much more meaning to the reader. And by the time they're down at the bottom of the About page, or any other place that Ina tells this Vortex story, to hear about the center, her A Heart Plan program, it instantly tells them whether they want it or not. They can see it in a very different way. Ina even goes so far as to repurpose all of that story. Unfortunately, this is a new computer, a new hard drive, I should say. I don't have the plug-in, but there's a welcome video that is Ina telling them the Vortex story. It also gets repurposed all over Ina's site. In every blog post, each blog post is tied to one of the stages that has the heart, the colored heart, and the direction of the heart. So just at a quick glance, I could look and see exactly how this piece of content fits into the bigger picture of the caregiver's heart wheel and the journey that a caregiver might go on. On Ina's product images, each standalone product has one of the hearts on it. So again, it gives context and helps someone better understand exactly how this product fits into things and whether or not it applies to them. Can you see how powerful that can be?
Yeah.
And I know, Cynthia, you've done a really good job of getting that started on what you're doing as well.
Yes, on harmonics.org, getting those pillars clear.
Yes.
And then being able to bring people into that experience so that they can, learn more about themselves and take them into the different levels that I have available for them in harmonics.
Absolutely. So let me come back over to this. We actually have a program called Motivation to Profit that both Cynthia and Lynn have taught in. It is one of the most powerful programs I have ever created. It's certainly the one thing that I am most proud of. It has about 45 lessons in it that go through all 5 pillars of our Vortex. It provides you guys with not just training on the Vortex and the Vortex model of doing business, but on all 5 of those topics: mindset, including serving, time management, monetization, content marketing and relationship building, leverage through joint ventures and strategic alliances, all different kinds of traffic, authoring and publishing, and helping you to really build your business comprehensively, start to finish, starting with your vision, looking at your serving, looking at social entrepreneurship and how your business and your life are going to do good in the world, and planning and implementing all of it. It also includes a weekly call that we like to call a hug seat. Cynthia, what are our hug seats like every week on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern?
They are life-changing. I mean, we just had a film production company that came in, and you changed their life as far as their strategies for them enjoying their life along with their business. And I've just watched you do it over and over again, where people leave there with this big aha moment of life change and transformation.
And even when you're not on the hug seat, every single week we have a different business. Some are for-profit, some are non-profit, in a different niche. I can't even count how many different niches have been on that hug seat. It's a large number, hundreds.
Yes.
They all have different business models. Sometimes they sell physical products, sometimes they sell services, sometimes they're filmmakers, sometimes they're coaches. Doesn't really matter what the model is. They're all on hug seats at some point. And yet over and over and over again, we're walking each person through all 5 core systems that every business needs, the DU Vortex, And you're seeing how all 5 apply to create a very different life with a very different business with a very different audience. So you literally walk away from every single gold call or hug seat with concrete, actionable ideas that you can implement in your business right away.
Yes.
In the next couple of weeks, we're adding a new feature in Motivation to Profit, and as a result, the tuition is going up considerably. Right now, tuition is just $147 a year. What we are adding is a full-blown project management system that not only includes all of the tasks for the next year, it also includes the training on each task that would allow you or your team, even if they're outsourced people, to implement the tasks in your business. We will have tasks for every one of those 5 core systems. The mindset stuff will have tasks every single month for the next year. Monetization and the Vortex planning using Plan It, Sell It, Create It have tasks for the next year. Content marketing and relationship building, same thing. Joint ventures and strategic alliances. Everything having to do with traffic. The publishing piece will be a separate set of tasks. So if you're not planning on writing a book, don't implement them. Don't import them into your system. But you will actually have access to a full-blown project management system just by being a part of Motivation to Profit. You know, I told you before what our mission is, and our mission really is to help touch the life of every person on this planet. And we can only do that by working with you guys, by working with entrepreneurs, helping each and every person we work with to apply the Vortex model of doing business, to really go out there and serve not just your customers, not just your prospects, but serve in a way that does good in the world using social entrepreneurship. Together, we really truly can make a difference and touch the life of every person on this planet. So I leave you with just this question. Will you be the next entrepreneur that we help? Lynn, where will they find Motivation to Profit?
They will find it at skyhawkenterprises.biz/MTP for Motivation to Profits. So,
skyhawkenterprises.biz/M like Mary, T like Tom, P like Paul. And we were going to raise the price to $9.97 a year at noon today. I promised Lynn that we will leave it at $147 a year for the next 24 hours. So please, this is not a marketing ploy at all. We had said we would only leave it at the $147 as an introductory special, and that's done. So you have 24 hours, guys, and I cannot say enough how much you will get out of this.
and I can't either. To the extent that that is how I gained entry into the program, I was involved in listening to Hug Seats for a couple of weeks before I had my own. And I have to tell you that those first couple were actually what helped me to see the potential in being a part of the Motivation to Profits program. And then being on my own Hug Seat to see how these systems could come together for myself just made the world of difference. But I also want to say that I have experienced how the listening to how you're developing this Vortex model for other businesses has really given me not only ideas but methods to incorporate certain things into what it is that I'm doing. And I think that that's one of the priceless opportunities with Motivation to Profit. And I have to say, too, that I'm so grateful for you extending this offer for us. We just peeked in there because the page actually says that it expires yesterday at midnight.
It did.
please take advantage of this for $14.95 a month or $147 for a year. And Gina, tell us, is this a lifetime commitment? If you get in now, are you grandfathered in at these costs?
You are locked in for life.
Oh, that's just amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, I know you have more to add to that. Why don't you chime in here really quickly? I'm looking at the time, and I do want to be respectful of the time that we'd set aside. What do you have to add? I mean, gosh, you know, for this kind of cost, what do you see that you want to invite people into?
Oh my goodness. You know, the sky's the limit. It really is a world of infinite possibilities. Every one of the trainings is set up the same way. There is a 1 hour training. All of them have the Associate Dean of the DU School of Business and Marketing, Antonio Thornton, who's a former mentee of mine as well. Amazing entrepreneur. What a heart Antonio has. And he's leading the training with whoever it is that's responsible for teaching that topic. So you're not only going to get to learn from me and my partner Jack and from Lynn and Cynthia, you're going to get to learn from all 27 different DU faculty members and growing. We have a few more additions about to be announced. Thank you. So I'm really excited about that. We'll probably be up to 30 by the end of January, and all of them have lessons here. But it's not just the training. At the end of every training, we have a set of action steps. Lynn, I'm sure you could comment even better than I could on how helpful those action steps are in implementing and applying what you learn in the training, right?
Yes. Those action steps actually guide you through the lesson of that module. And what it allowed me to do was to really give some thought to what was being taught in that module and how I could relate it to me, and then how I could incorporate it and integrate it into my business. And at first I was thinking, you know, well, not all of this is going to apply to me. Boy, was I wrong.
Very true. It really does all apply. It's amazing. And even if you're already at a success level now in your business, you're not just starting out, do yourself a favor. Go back to lesson 1 and do them start all over again. Treat it as if there's nothing in your business. Don't you agree, Lynn?
I agree. That has probably been one of the best experiences for me, because when all of this started, I was still fairly new in the program. And so by the time I started going back through each lesson again, I was more seasoned in what the Vortex meant. I had built my Vortex model, and so things that I was learning in the redo were me at a different place in time, me at a more knowledgeable place to be able to really take some additional information and incorporate it into what it is that I am doing. And a lot of it, the first part being personal development, was really what was I have to say, the most beneficial for me. I've been studying business, you know, the whole business coach thing, and I've had numerous coaches before. And I have to tell you, too, that I am an advocate for having a business coach. And a business coach who is not just a coach but a mentor, someone who you can look at their experience, look at how you relate to them. Because I had some really great business coaches, they just weren't right for me. They weren't those who could really help me to develop and come into the full expression of me. And I think Cynthia said that about her own experience. And really, for the DU experience, it's not just women who feel this way about working with you and Jack. It is both men and women who've been able to come into the full expression of who they are, their story, so that they can then move into their business with more ease, more grace, more fun, more time, all of the things that we've decided that we'd like to have as part of our future.
Absolutely. And you know, the easiest way for me to describe who is this really for, if you're someone who would not really be thrilled if all you did was make money, and you really truly want to make a difference and make money as a result of making a difference, whether you're a man or a woman, doesn't matter. This really is exactly what you've been looking for. It's for those heart-centered marketers, the people who really have a message they want to get out to the world. My very favorite quote is, "Winners take imperfect action while losers are still perfecting the plan." I want each and every one of you with us today to truly be a winner. Come in, take imperfect action. If you just implement just one baby thing from each lesson and from each hug seat, you will find a huge difference by the end of this year. I guarantee it.
I second that. I totally agree. Cynthia, what's your thoughts?
Well, I so agree with this because right now I'm having a totally different experience. You know, it's my first time actually really having this opportunity to interview and or not interview, but host with Gina. And Lynn and I have worked together, but this is what DU brings to your life. New experiences, new direction, Directions University. You know, it gives you direction to go, something new, and that's what we're constantly looking for. When we're in discordance or not having such a good time, when we're struggling in our businesses, what we need is for some direction, and Gina gives you that. You know, and this Vortex plan, this Vortex model, absolutely, you know, it has changed my life and how I'm able to show up and do service, and it's made, it is my life. It's made my life absolutely amazing.
Amen.
Thank you, Gina.
Amen. Thank you, Gina. Thank you for being our guest today. Thank you for all that you've brought to our audience today. I want to wrap up the program and say we have built it the way Gina said, plan it, sell it, and then create it. And this is the creation piece, because what we decided was there would be a cost to getting the digital products for this program. And it was very important for us to express what the permission movement was all about and what the permission movement was bringing to the world. And I have to tell you that the price point for getting the digital products and the bonuses that are a part of this experience, we've made it so that cost is no barrier. The $147 price point is giving you 9 weeks, 9 celebrity guests, all of the co-authors of the Permission to Be Powerful book being brought to you, and in the end wrapped up into a digital package that you'll then be able to receive and listen to these modules, listen to this once again, and learn from it. Learn from it, build your experience to giving yourself permission to be, to do, and to have that which is your highest and best good in your life, and bring that to your business so that you can do bigger business and do more good in the world. It looks like Gina's got something up here. Oh, I love that.
We just added this over the weekend, and I didn't think you guys had seen it. It's on the Motivation to Profit page. So when they go to skyhawkenterprises.biz/MTP, this is about halfway down, and it's some takeaways from a recent hug seat call. And Jack just put this picture of Cynthia up front, and "You guys are friggin' amazing" was part of her takeaway. So Cynthia, make sure you go check out that video. Oh my gosh, your takeaway was beautiful.
Oh my gosh, I'm checking the comments, and there are so many really great comments here. There's one, Margaret has just signed up, and I would encourage all of you who are watching today, go ahead and do it now. $14.95 a month, $147 for the year, and grandfather yourself into this cost, because this is something that's going to be here to support you in growing your business and growing your life and helping you to do more good in the world. Thanks again, Gina. Thanks, Cynthia, for
Thank you.
being our host today.
And thank both of you. It's been my pleasure, and what a joy for me to be here with both of you.
Thank you.
Oh, it is. Thank you so much, Gina.
And I look
Thanks,
forward
Lynn.
to meeting each and every one of you in Motivation to Profit.
And I do as well. So once again, we extend the invitation. The information's been put up in the event page, Skyhawk Enterprises with an S on the end, .biz, B-I-Z /MTP. And join us. We would love to play with you and grow with you and help support you as well. So thank you everyone for joining us for today's module number 4, the Vortex model of doing business and how your story fits. Thanks to
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
See you next time. Oh, and before we go, next time, oh my gosh, tomorrow. So every Monday, every Tuesday, and every Thursday, we have our broadcasts, and 12 o'clock noon Eastern time. Tomorrow's module is harmonics. How is your heart story formed? So join us as Cynthia Gardner ONeill really lays out what your harmonics is and how your harmonics harmonize your life and harmonize your business.
Oh, don't miss that one, guys. I've heard this before. You'll want to be there. Awesome. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Everybody.
Seeing you all. Thanks.